Hawthorne, if you're getting this, something's happened to me. Got mixed up in some shady business on Gorgon. Should have known better. But I landed on something big. And now this job's an itch I can't stop scratching. There's a whole research compound left of the Sprats. I think I'm close to figuring out why. But something dangerous is closer to me. Got the job through one Minnie Ambrose. Top runger who just came into some money, was offering a hefty bid card for qualified help. Trust me, her money's good. Talk to Minnie. Take the job. If I ain't gonna live to see the payday, might as well be you. Consider us even, old pal.
Well, that fellow certainly seemed trustworthy.
I've gotten jobs from some unusual sources, but this is a first. Congratulations, Captain.
I don't mean to sound prim, Captain, but there's gotta be a better way to ask someone to do you a favor.
I just want to say, we gotta take this job. This is the closest I ever been to starring in a serial drama. Only thing we're missing is a couple cameras and a soundtrack.
At least this won't be boring.
Lucky Montoya owed Captain Hawthorne a considerable debt. I believe this is what humans refer to as payback. Captain, the message contains landing coordinates for a small asteroid in the Charybdis cluster. It was recently registered to a Wilhelmina Ambrose. He was an old friend of Alex Hawthorne's. Lucky Montoya had a statistically significant tendency to encounter situations of extreme danger.
Oh, really? I thought he lost his arm gambling.
He was also the fourth best paid freelancer in the system. This had less correlation with his measured aptitudes, which rank at or below average, than with a pattern of fortunate circumstances. I have transferred the coordinates for Ambrose Manor to your navigation terminal. We can travel there when you are ready.
Welcome to Ambrose Manor. We were not expecting company. Please follow.
Don't worry, little fella. We're mostly law-abiding folk. Those big empty windows. It feels like the building's watching me. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. At the very least, there ought to be something worth stealing in there. Okay, maybe not. So empty. Oh, Captain, something here don't feel right.
Whoever you are. So who the devil are you? You don't say. Well, make yourself at home, Captain. I'm sure we have much to discuss. Do you see that glowing chunk of space rock? That's Gorgon. My birthright, my burden, and the bane of my existence. I hate to drink alone, and this is my third. So join me in raising a glass. To Gorgon. To Gorgon. May cosmic winds shepherd her to the nearest star. I'm Wilhelmina Ambrose, but you can keep it short and call me Minnie. Now, what brings you to my house, gorgeous? I take it you didn't come all this way for the beverages, the starry skies, or the pleasant company. A severed arm. How positively ghoulish. You know this is a private residence, not a curio shop? Lucky Montoya is my personal freelancer. Fascinating man. Very brooding and theatrical. Always staring into space and twirling a bullet over his knuckles.
He's definitely not doing that anymore.
But if something happened to him... Oh dear. I suppose that makes him my former freelancer now? Thank you. But the people in my orbit come and go all the time. Occupational hazard. What a time for his luck to run out. We were in the middle of something grand, and I really can't afford another setback. Settling an old score. How would you like to be my new freelancer? There's been a recent vacancy, and I think you're well suited to the job.
Remember, play hard to get. That's negotiation.
You offer work to everyone who breaks into your home? Must be some kind of Byzantine tradition I ain't know about.
I'm looking for someone rough around the edges. A gorgeous, dashing scoundrel type. Incidentally, someone good with their hands. I don't think he'll mind if that's your concern. My mother, Dr. Olivia Ambrose, worked for Spacer's Choice at the Gorgon Research Facility. She was brilliant, the top scientist in her field, until tragedy struck. One day, Spacer's Choice shut down all research and evacuated Gorgon. Everyone had to scramble or risk getting left behind. It was chaos. Employees fled for their lives. Mother never made it home. I'm told she wasn't the only casualty that fateful day.
It must have been real hard on you, losing your mother all of a sudden like that. I'm sorry to hear it, ma'am.
Thank you. Ambrose ladies are supposed to be resilient to the unexpected, but this was especially hard on me. Mother's name has since been dragged through the mud. Spacer's Choice blames her for the collapse of Project Gorgon, and I just know they're lying. Whatever happened on Gorgon wasn't Mother's fault. I simply need the evidence to prove it. We're going to drag the truth kicking and screaming into the light. Even if it means bringing ruin and humiliation to Spacer's Choice. All the evidence I need should be in Mother's journal. You can find it in her office on Gorgon, in the heart of the old research facility. You do all that for me? I was hoping you'd take the job, but I didn't expect you to care. I believe you're the first person to ever side with me against the corporation. It's a refreshing change. When you reach Gorgon, pack a weapon you trust. The corporate lockdown hasn't stopped the wilderness from squirming in through the cracks. There's a little saloon near Gorgon's landing pad, the Sprat Shack. Lucky was renting a room, so if you want to follow his trail, that would be the place to start.
I think I've heard of that place. Cheap whiskey, rough crowd. You'll love it.
Oh, you think maybe they got a little mascot? Like a sprat in a tiny hat?
Just so we understand each other, money is no object. I'm willing to squander the family fortune if you get me what I want. Between your payment and any salvage you happen across, you'll walk away from this rich enough to buy a mansion of your own. How does that sound? Finally, I get to put my inheritance to work. Here's your nav key, Captain. Safe travels. A word of advice before you go, Captain. Trust no one. Mother's office is in the heart of the Gorgon facility. You're free to salvage anything that isn't nailed down. I only want what's mine.
Mysterious heiress, unexpected gainful employment. It's like something out of a detective serial.
It's not theft if she's giving us permission.
Bringing canned responses. These things could overlap.
We are now in orbit above Gorgon.
Look at those stars. Don't it make you feel small in the best way?
Space's Choice thanks you for your work at the Gorgon facility.
Come here. Let's have a chat. All right, inspection time. Look at my eyes for as long as you can without blinking. Starting now. Did I stutter? Just do as I say. I could do without the sass, but that's good enough. You're cleared. That was a sanity check. If you had changed like the others, it'd be in your eyes. You'd also be drooling, cursing, and making a mess of the place. Welcome to the Sprat Shack. You can head on downstairs. Every day, salvagers and scrappers set out to comb the ruins and make their fortune. The ones who come back, they aren't always the same men or women who left. They change. Never for the better. First, they get real twitchy and paranoid, shouting at folks who aren't there. Then they smell like they soiled themselves, on account of how they soiled themselves. After that, they're gone. Nothing but animals wearing human skin. Seen it happen myself. It's never pretty. This is the Sprat Shack, the most remote watering hole in the system. Rule number 1, no fighting. Rule number 2, wipe your feet on the way downstairs. We're the only hospitable place on this rock. I want to keep it that way. That's why we have rule number 3. When people change, they stay outside, where they belong. Watch yourself out there.
Smell that? Cheap whiskey and stale cigarettes. My kind of place.
Oh, ugh. This place smells like Felix's bird.
Welcome to the Sprat Shack. First one's on the house, and I won't even water it down. What'll it be? Bottoms up. I assume you're here for salvage. Even if I did, I ain't supposed to play favorites. Most of my regulars are sublight scavengers. They pick over the ruins of Gorgon, spend their earnings at the bar, and head back out the next day. Vicious cycle, but that's life. You're the first new face I've seen in a while. Lucky. Sure, I knew him. He could get a little dramatic at times, but he was a good guy. Heard he took on a dangerous job. Spent a lot of time coming and going from the Office of Creative Incubation, just down the road. The way he talked about the job, you just knew Lucky had hit pay dirt. Not that I was jealous. Around here, that sort of luck can be hazardous to your health. Awful shame about what happened to him. Third floor. Once I figured he wasn't coming back to pay his tab, I left his room unlocked to air it out. You can help yourself to anything you left behind. Fair warning, I've been letting the regulars use it for a quick lie down. Just wash your hands when you're done. Trust me. Spacer's Choice used to brew pharmaceuticals in these parts. That's why the asteroid smells like an old gym sock. They say Adrenatime came from here, just down the road at the old R&D lab. Very hush-hush back in the day. Roscoe might tell you more. He spent some time around here before the bar opened up, and I trust him well enough. There's always Leonora, my favorite customer over in the storage room on the second floor. Keeps to herself and always closes out her tab. He's been here since opening day. I think he told me he was some kind of journalist. He got left behind when Spacer's Choice pulled out. And I guess no one's coming to get him. Roscoe's drinks are on the house. We all know how it feels to get left behind. He'll be all right. He's with the family now, and we take care of our own. He didn't tell me and I didn't ask. I'm his bartender, not his human resources rep. If you believe the chatter, a lot of good folks got left behind, and a lot of bad folks made it out. Sometimes that's all there is to it. Nice lady. Been coming around a lot these past few months. She isn't with Sublight, but seems to know the lay of the land better than anyone. She spends most of her days drinking alone. I think she's looking to hire someone. If you're open to a side gig. Now that you mention it, I thought I saw those two sharing stories over a pint. Didn't think twice about it. I don't speak ill of the dead, but Leonora deserves better company. That Lucky was no good for her. What are friends for, eh? I doubt anyone knows the full story. One day the evacuation order went out. Grunts and lab coats scrambled to get anywhere but Gorgon. And the weirdest thing of all, Adrenatime still hit the market. Me, I never touch the stuff. To each their own, but I think it's dangerous. Damn right we are. We've got drugs, scrap metal, prototype weapons, drugs, money, and more drugs. When Spacer's Choice evacuated, everyone dropped their gear and ran. Most of it stayed where it fell, and all of it is up for grabs. Of course, the real treasure is whatever's locked up in the old facility. Until someone figures a way to crack it open, we're just sifting through dirt. You got it, bub. Be seeing you.
Are you my agent on the ground?
Sorry?
You're a humbug, Trixie. And worse, a thief.
I wouldn't get too close to that railing, just in case. You think the folks here like strangers? Because some of them are looking at us like, maybe not.
What have you got there?
Adrena time, I think. I found some in
As a medical professional, I gotta say, that is very well preserved and disgusting.
You think they stick the preservative in before or after the eye comes out?
So, how you feeling?
good. Real good.
Someone's in here. Hold on. It's coming back up again.
Jerome would have loved this place. You don't look like one of the salvagers, no? Don't really seem like the type. You've got the look of someone who's traveled far to get here, and whose journey is far from over. You're kidding, right? This rock is littered with so many journals, logs, and phonographs you could open a library. I don't know if you're bound for the old ruins, but in case you are, can you look into something? I'd do it myself, but of course, the Marauders would eat me alive. Looking for something out there. Been paying Sublight to help me, but they haven't made much progress. It is to me, but apparently it's junk to Sublight. My husband and I worked on Gorgon during the good times. Jerome was on maintenance duty. I cleaned out test tubes till they sparkled. Nowhere good, that's for sure. In his final hours, Gorgon was a war zone. Violence broke out in the labs. The hills were full of marauders. You couldn't take a leisurely stroll without an armed escort. When the order came through to evacuate, non-essential personnel drew a lottery to see who would board the first wave of ships. Jerome won. I lost. As soon as I wasn't looking, Jerome switched our tickets and pushed me to the front of the line. I got to leave. Jerome stayed behind. I never saw him again. A broken heart, that's what. This place is greedy. It took my Jerome, and it would have taken me too. I just want one thing back. His old hip flask. I gave it to him the day we signed our marriage contract, and he carried it wherever he went. I know it's still here. No point in denying it, he died on this rock, likely torn apart by marauders, unless he took care of himself on his own terms. I don't like to imagine what happened, but I know I have to accept it. You'd really do that for me? Law, and I'll bet you're worth 10 of those Sublight sprats. I don't have much, but if you help me, there's a little set aside for the occasion. Jerome used to drink with his buddies in a small kitchen opposite the maintenance shed. Might be a good place to check first.
That was my salvage, Trixie. You had no right to it then, and you've no right to it now. A disagreement between professionals. None of your business.
I risked my life sneaking around Marauders to claim that wreck. And I didn't see your name on it.
Now you've done it. Eat fist!
All right, that's enough! This is a family establishment! You want to make a mess? You make it outside!
But this was personal, Lex. It's a question of salvage. That wreck was gonna make me a fortune. Hey, didn't I warn you about sticking your nose where it doesn't belong?
It's the same fight every day. 5 years we've been at this, and we still can't agree on how to properly tag salvage. Now you two listen, this is my place. While you're in the Sprat Shack, you'll sit quietly, or I'll forbid you to come here at all. Is that understood?
Fair's fair. I'll have a stout, and we'll settle this later on our own terms.
It's no good to leave a fight unresolved. If I don't do something, these two are gonna be at each other's throats. Would you do me a favor and weigh in as a third party? I can use an unbiased set of eyes on the problem, and an outsider like you fits the bill. Freddy, Trixie, go on and make your case to the generous stranger.
I'll start, seeing as I'm the one who's been most wronged in this equation. So, just up the road and due east of here, there's a shipwreck lodged in the mountainside, right? I staked my claim on that wreck. Then I wandered in for a drink. An hour later, Trixie swaggers in bragging about her salvage. Ugh, the nerve of some people.
When I found the shipwreck, there were no salvage mark. See, the whole area was teeming with bloodthirsty marauders. So I snuck around and added my tag, clear as day so no drunken idiots could claim the salvage out from under me, Freddy.
For the record, when I heard the marauders coming, I left. Trixie must have set her mark down after me. Sorry, I won't speak out of turn again.
Anyway, that's my story, ma'am. I drew an X in the dirt, with my toe. Wouldn't surprise me in the least, but that doesn't mean it ain't mine.
In all my years, I've never heard a more contentious argument. I don't envy your shoulders for bearing the weight of responsibility. You've heard it from them both. So, who gets the salvage?
Thank you. Law, it's hard to get a fair trial in this sprat-fucked colony.
You'll pay for this. I don't know how, and I'm not sure when, but just you wait, and maybe it'll happen. Someday.
Here's a 6-pack on the house, plus your fee. Maybe now we'll finally get some peace around here for a change. Come and chat if you're ever feeling thirsty.
We could always go back and rile him up again later. That's my captain.